All right, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Hang on. Got everything out? Everybody's here. Happy Good Friday. Good to see you. All right. Looks like we got some chat. We got here. So, anyways, hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Good Friday. Welcome to the Forex.Today YouTube live stream. And today the markets are actually closed. All right, so it's Good Friday around the world, and banks are closed. A lot of the markets are closed, if not all of the markets are closed. But what I did want to do today is go through the weekly and monthly pivot points, prepare you for April, and just kind of do a quick review around the market. So without further ado, let's get going. So let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. My name is Wayne McDonald. I am the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. We're a boutique brokerage firm. We would like to earn your loyalty and respect by investing into your education up front. And when you do have skills and confidence in these new abilities to trade Forex profitably, ideally with low risk, low leverage, low volatility, then you will choose Traders Way as your prime broker. On top of that, fast execution speed, very competitive fees and spreads, and world-class customer service. But you also get to interact with me every single day, Monday through Friday at Forex.Today. Didn't know you do a webinar today. Yeah, Andre, there's really no real reason to do it, but I'm here, and why not go through the market? All right? I mean, that's it, right? So it's really a quiet day, volume and volatility wise, but it's still an opportunity to get together as a community. So anyways, good morning. Remember, if you're new to these events, if you're new to me, if you're new to Forex.Today, if you're new to Traders Way, if you've stumbled into this webinar today, be sure to subscribe, because every time I do something live like this, you're going to be notified, which is really nice. You just click a button, boom, you're here, and all that kind of stuff. And maybe comment in the chat over there. If you're watching this embedded on Forex.Today and you can't see the chat, in the bottom right-hand corner it says watch on YouTube. Just click that, come through from Forex.Today into YouTube, and then you can interact with us live here in the chat. Right, Andre? Right, Brooke? Right, Elvin? Right, Martin? Everybody's here. Anthony, Ron. me. All right. So anyways, here we are. This is a standard setup for me. These are the yen pairs. Now, if we're going to go through weekly and monthly pivots, because remember, Monday is a new month, therefore we're going to have new pivots. So, hey, Mike. So one of the things I like to do is start trading Monday's setups, or setting up, how about this way? Setting up Monday's trades. Too many cigars, huh? All right, so we need to set up next week's trades, and we can do the analysis today. So I think what we'll do is we'll look for swing trades, and we can already have pretty good guesses on what next week and next month's pivot points are going to be. And if you have liquidity in the market, and there may be some, it'd be very slow in this market, but you may be able to enter these trades. And again, it would be trades that you're entering today that are actually not set up for today. They're set up for Monday and Tuesday of next week. Okay? And the follow through could last for the entire month. Right? So you might go long today and be long all of April. So that's where I'm going to. Hey, human god, how you doing? So, anyways, if you're alive, click the little like button. Hopefully, you like the plan for the day. I'll just start at the top and work my way around. Then we'll do some dollar pairs. Then we'll look at commodities like gold and oil, and then we'll turn this Good Friday into an awesome Friday. Life is great, life is grand, and life is good. Oh, I don't have my drawing tool. I don't have a drawing tool. I need to figure that out if I'm going to do these live more often. My drawing tool. All right, so we'll figure this out. First thing is the skinny little pivots over to the right here. These are next week's weekly pivot points. Okay, and then the fatties over here. This is April's pivot points, and you can see we haven't gotten there yet because it's not April yet. This is the last day of March. So anyways, what we can do is start looking for clusters between the two. It's a little tricky right now because I often start with my bias, right? Am I bullish or bearish? And right now you see how we have a range. I've identified this already. This is something that I drew. This kind of looks like a bottom, right? And up here, it kind of looks like let me move this down a little bit. That kind of looks like a top, and that puts us at range, and we're right in the middle of that range. So technically speaking, there's nothing here. There's nothing. It's just neutral. It's sideways, which can complicate this just slightly because there's just nothing technically to give you direction. So you're going to have to do it completely fundamental. Now, this looks like it's straight down, but you may know that I believe, well, first of all, when we were up here, my assumption was this was going to fall, even though we'd been long for months and months and months. During this long rally, first of all, we expected this rally, we participated in this rally, but in this period here at the end of December, we were preparing for a massive decline. And in fact, you can see this started on the first of the year, and then first of the year, and then this particular pair double topped before the drop, and that's because at that point the euro was very strong. But the interesting thing is, as this was rising, we assumed it would top out and fall in this period, but then at that same time, we also said if it does fall, it's going to fall down until this period. So now fast forward to today, back here in September and October, November, when it was rallying, we thought it would come down to about April, and then in April head back up. Okay? That's a lot of supposing. I mean, if you think about it, we were talking about this in September, that it would rally and then drop and then rally, and in particular at the beginning of April. Well, that is truth. That is the truth. All of that is truth. So now I'm in this period where I think around April it may start to rally again. Well, isn't it interesting that we start to consolidate in this period? Which means even though we expected it to fall and it fell, we expect in here at least to consolidate and then rally up. And I think what this looks like to me is that it stopped falling, which is the beginning of the rally, right? Hey, Peter. Yeah, Peter, I sent an email, by the way, so come on. But it's super early for you. Peter, what time is it for you? It's not even 5 o'clock in the morning. The banner at the bottom consumes a lot of space and has the wrong date. Yeah, 4:40 in the morning. Where is that, Mike? What banner and what date? Do I have the wrong date? No, it's the 30th. Oh, this one, the streaming one? Is there a date on there? Oh, I apologize for that. Josh is looking for me all over on today. Yeah, well, on Forex.Today, there's a post in the top right-hand corner that says, anyways, you're here. So, long story short, the potential beginning of a new rally, or to say the end of this downtrend, you would most likely see consolidation first, right? And now the big question is, are we looking at this move? And that's why I want to do the webinar today, even though essentially the markets are closed. You know, I want to prepare you for Monday and put you into the longer scope thing. And by the way, this isn't necessarily a euro yen play. I don't really care about the euro yen specifically. This is a yen play. Okay? And the reason I think it could consolidate and head back up is today is the last day of the fiscal year for businesses in Japan. Yeah. Yeah, you have to pay attention to that. It's weird, right? So this, to me, is repatriation flows. And you can think of it as chief financial officers of Japanese multinational corporations bringing money home to pay taxes. Now that that's over, there's no need. Now they have to reinvest, and it should weaken again, all right? So here we are on the daily. Let's drop more into like an hourly. Now we're kind of back into the now. Could you possibly be bullish here, even though over the last couple of weeks the market has been sideways? Have we formed a bottom? And are you going to use this alpha, this fundamental information to say, well, the market's been down for 3 months, sideways for 1 month, will next month be up? And then you got to pop this in technically. How do you get into that technically? Well, check this out. This would be technically for the month of April. If I was a bull, I want to buy somewhere in this gray box. Well, snap! We happen to be right on the top of that box now. So, if you just so happen to be lucky and blessed on Good Friday and are able to get into this trade, it may last the entire month of April. Now, I don't know what the opposite of insult to injury is. What's a good thing? I guess icing on the cake? The icing on the cake is the weekly setup is here. And you're like, well, snap, that's actually where we are right now. Look at that. We're on top of the weekly and monthly central pivot point for next week and next month. That's interesting, right? So Brooks says, Brooks thinking about buying it around 130. So you think it's going to drop and then pop? Yeah, and that can happen. That would change, that would change almost nothing, right? In this case, you buy it down here and then rally it up. Sure. I'm totally into that. I hope it doesn't drop that far. I mean, it's perfectly valid. I love it. I would buy it there. So put it this way. I have two prices in which I would consider buying, here and here. Okay. Java says next week's M2. Yeah, it's the same thing, right? But notice it's next week. The monthly M2 is at 129.94, so we'll just call that 130. And then the weekly M2 is at 130.06. So they're only like 10, 15 pips apart. So yeah, around 130 plus the psych level, I'm good with that. But the thing is, do you give up the opportunity now and hope it drops for 80 pips? Or can you pop one in now, maybe with a smaller lot size, and tiptoe into this? Good morning, Barry. Okay, you see what I mean? So I would have two entries planned, where we are now, and if we go down there, I'd do it again. Anything lower than that, I'd be cautious about. Okay, and just wait for better timing. So that's euro, but I don't really care about that. specifically. I don't really care about that. The entry in here, very similar. The weekly, monthly cluster is there. That's the first buy zone. This is the second buy zone. So if I was a bull and I wanted the yen pairs to rally, I would want to buy this right around 106. Oh, look, it's 106.18. Okay, I'd like it to come down a little bit more, maybe exactly 106, but we got this here. And we still have, like currently we're on a March pivot, but I'm setting it up on April's pivot. So basically the March pivots are dead, but it looks like it's holding. Okay, and that 4-hour 21 is an important EMA. So you have to decide, like, how close do you need this touch? Does it have to touch 106, or can you be long 106.18? Now, did I cover the target on the euro? Let me go back to that one just to double check I covered it. I got to go to the 4-hour now. So if you are able to buy it either at the current price or the lower price, the conservative target is going to be 133.50, and the aggressive target is going to be 134.50. I would say basically 134. Okay, so this would be about it, and you'd be buying it at 131 or lower, I guess, right? You'd be buying it at 130 to 131. Okay, we'll say 130. Let's say it comes down before it goes up. So you buy it at 130. The target is 134. So that's 400 pips. On this one, there's a less average daily range and such. But if you were to basically do the same thing, and this time I'll use Fibonacci, because it's a trend that we're playing. So that's a trend tool. Okay. This comes down. If it bounces there, then we're buying a 3A2 Fibonacci retracement. And that predicts a 1618 extension. That also is the weekly R2. And that is also the monthly, well, just above the monthly M4. So if we can combine all these things, the 3A2 to 1618, the CPP to M4, and the other CPP to its R2, it clusters around 108.50. So you'd be buying it at 106 and moving up 250 pips. And you'll see that the ADR is smaller in the USD yen than a euro yen, so that totally makes sense. Hey, Katrina. Yeah, Katrina, I never joke. I never joke. All right. Look at here, we have Aussie yen. If you go back to Monday of this week, I have this bottomed out. You see this? And I believe at the time what I was talking about is we're at a buy zone. You know what it was? We were talking about this Friday of last week, not Monday of this week. Friday. We were playing this week's pivot points, but it was before this week. It was last week, right? So anyways, I have this and I said, look, here's the buy zone at this price here. Not this one, not this one, not this one, not this one, right? This one is what I had set up, but we were still in here, okay? Now, this means it was supposed to rally. I wouldn't call that a big rally, but we certainly painted the bottom on this, right? Bear in mind, in September, we knew that somewhere in this period, the yen pairs would bottom out. So that's in September. So here last week, we're like, well, we're getting ready for that point in which the yen pairs should bottom out. So we're talking about this last week. And now a whole week goes by, and we didn't even try to make a lower low, which I think that's the interesting part, right? That this was actually set up in September. We talked about it in August and September and October and November and then December and then January. We all got together and I said, this is it. Here's our big move. Take profit on all your yen long pairs and then sell all the yen pairs and do that until April 1st. So here we are getting ready for the April 1st period, and sure enough, the downward move for the yen seems to have potentially done. So this is where you take your profit and you start loading the boat for the next wave. The next wave would be now up until June 15th. Maybe, right? So having it bottom out here is like perfect. And again, not a day in advance, not a week in advance, not a month in advance, not a quarter in advance, basically 6 months in advance. We're talking about this bottoming out. So I know the time, I just don't know the price. Well, now we have the price and the time, and so now we have to take the next step. If we're getting out of the Aussie yen short, then how do we get long? And that's why we're doing the weekly and monthlies today on Good Friday. So here's the buy zone for next month. Less ideal, you can see the reason it's less ideal is it was sold off more. The Aussie's been quite weak. Okay. In fact, well, I guess on this, it's actually been quite sideways, right? You see this thin line? This is the price we're at right now. Could we call that support? I know we're a little bit lower than it, but if we moved up now, if we moved up above that and stayed above that, could we count that as support? And I think so. Oh, the question here in the chat room, yesterday I was talking about a lot of supply coming. Well, that had to do with the treasuries. There was 300 billion in treasuries offered this week. All right, so everyone says, yeah, that is support. Okay, well then we have to use that in today's analysis, right? That went back months. So looking back months, now we have to tiptoe in this now. You know, how do you start playing this? Well, you might want to at least start marking this. I like to paint my lines, so to speak. Doing a channel like this reminds me that we're thinking up, even though this isn't trending up, right? We haven't even made a higher high against this yet, but we've stopped the lower low process. See what I mean? Because this was supposed to make a lower low. Well, lo and behold, it didn't make a lower low, but it hasn't made a higher high yet. So you can get caught in the idea that this is sideways. This says, well, it might technically be sideways, but we're adding some pixie dust here. We're sprinkling some bullishness on here. Okay? So even though technically there's nothing very bullish about this, we're trying to be bullish. Okay? So that puts me in a mode like, well, with that in mind, we're hoping that this does head to the up. Okay? That gets us in our buy zone. I prefer to be above the buy zone and retrace to the buy zone, but nonetheless, we're in a buy zone. We're kicking off next week's central pivot, which is here. Okay, and we're in the buy zone for next month. So I don't think this will be an easy trade compared to other ones out there, but a rising tide should raise all ships. And if that is true, you'll be entering this trade, let's say 180, 150. Okay, 180, 150. Then your target would be 85 to 85.50. So 81.50 to 85. So there should be about 400 pips in this Aussie yen move if we can catch it. Okay. Now you may have caught what I said earlier. We might actually be long not just the month of April, but until June 15th. And that means at least back to this top, but probably even higher. So there might be 1,000 pips in this. Good morning, Eamon. All right, there might be, but we don't know yet, and that's why we have to use technical analysis. Okay, so that's that. We can look at the beast or the Widowmaker. Here we are on Monday. Okay, the reason I have this is last Friday we talked about this potentially being the buy zone for this week. So this week's swing trade on the pound yen would be from in this point up into M4, and we didn't quite get it. All right, so if you were along like 148, you basically got out at 150. So this swing trade was disappointing. Only 200 pips. Tough week. Okay. The week before, same pattern, in at the same type of buy zone, out very, very quickly. I think we were out in like the Monday or Tuesday. This is in at like 147. You're getting out at 149.50. So again, a couple hundred pips. All right. The month didn't set up that well, but once it's set up, it started going. But then we never even got past the central pivot. All right. So looking at next week's buy zone on this, it's here, and then next month's buy zone is here, and I don't know if I'm that aggressive on this one. Okay. By the way, can you guys leave some likes? And if you're new to me, can you subscribe? That way, next time I do a live event, you can be notified. I'd appreciate that. Thank you. So anyway, so what I'm trying to get is, am I aggressive enough to buy it in this week's buy zone, or sorry, next week's buy zone, and consider that a kickoff of the monthly central pivot? Maybe. Maybe. We have, let's draw this out. Here we go. We have this kind of going. Just see up in my trade. Oh, I see it. La 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 la. All right, so we kind of got something like this going on. No. All right. I feel like it wants to consolidate first and then head up. Oh, and thank you for those likes. I appreciate that. It kind of feels like it wants to do this first, but that messes things up weekly, maybe. So I'm just wondering if we consolidate first on this one. See, if I do this outside of this trend in this channel and head back up, that makes me vulnerable enough. If it can do that, then it could do this just as easy and then head up. And that's okay too, because what happens is we're buying at next week's support, next month's support, but it means this week is going to be down, not up. And that's okay too. That just means all the end pairs are likely to come down a little more. So like that first trade we looked at, remember how there were two buy zones? Well, if this comes down to the low one, they're all going to come down to the low one, right? I think it was 81. Was it euro yen at 81 or something like that? Anyways, that means they're all going to drop one more time, one last hurrah of yen strength, and then up. Okay, it's just this one would be more of a costly mistake compared to the other ones, because this is more than a 50 pip retracement. I didn't even look at it. It's pound yen, and you should know pound yen, you could lose 150 pips on this, and it's hard to lose 150 pips on other pairs, right? Oh yeah, euro yen at 130. That's correct. So that's telling me that we're vulnerable to a drop from our current price, which is like almost 150, well, 149, let's say 149, and that could drop us down to 147 before we go up. Well, there's your 150 pips to 200 pip loss, and then it rallies up. Well, the other pair was only 50 or 80 pips or something, right? I'd rather have a stop. See, a 100 pip stop on the euro yen would protect me in that scenario, but a 100 pip stop in this pound yen doesn't even protect me halfway. So I'd rather save the pound yen for last, or wait for this to build up its rally and then jump in. Okay? Does that make sense? This one's a little riskier. Okay. All right, CAD yen. I'm still long on this one from last week. I was supposed to get out here, but I just kind of missed it. What can I say? So long, strong, profitable, and see, I can't lose money on it, but I think I probably will. But it's not enough money for me to get out. So um, CAD yen, this would be my plan. Okay, that's my first buy zone. The second one is further, but that goes outside my weekly target or my weekly buy zone. So I don't think it's going to do that. So that means I need oil to go up. But if the yen pairs are going up, then that's going to be that will reflect good macroeconomics, and good macroeconomics should drive oil up. And I'm more bullish on oil than bearish, maybe not at our exact price, but fundamentally speaking, not bearish, right? So, anyways, long story short, I would really like to see this work, and I'm already long at 82. The target here is 85, so maybe 300 pips on this. Okay. The target for next week is, you're long at 82, and this should get you to 83.50 to 84. Okay. I think what it'll probably do is go, 82 and 82 to 84, and then a retracement, and then kick off this the following week, and then work our way up to this 85, 86 area. Cool. And this one, fine. So I was long this one all month, or certainly last week. I can't remember. I think I bought it down here last week, right? So the play last week, remember on Friday, not Monday. On Friday of last week, we were here, and I set this up. You can see, you see this how. Oh, I have to grab it. You see how it's on this week, which is last week, last Friday. Last Friday, we were setting this up on the future pivot, which hadn't been created yet. And I said on Friday, a rally from here up into here. Well, you'll see it actually came up to the pip, hit the M4, and stopped. And that's the conservative move from M2 to M4, and that did happen. So again, 1 week ago on last Friday, we had this set up at 75.5. And our conservative target was basically 77. So it's not a lot of pips, 150, 200 pips. So that's a bummer. But what do we do now? We're in next month's buy zone. You'll see that we consolidated. Here's our current monthly central pivot point, March's monthly central pivot. We're way below it. We're not even challenging it. So this tells us a couple of things. The market was way down in February, and this is our central, and that the month of March was more a consolidation. It did come up, it did drop, and then it moved sideways, but we expected that 6 months ago. And so now what we're hoping, because we don't know it yet, it hasn't been confirmed yet, that then we've bottomed out and we're going to work our way back up. Like all the other yen pairs. By the way, I call that a J-Lo, and it's a joke that doesn't work anymore, but if you were hanging with me 10 years ago, a J-Lo meant a big wide bottom, and that made sense, and you're like, ah. Now I say it, and they're like, that doesn't make sense. What's a J-Lo? And I'm like, it's a big wide bottom, and they're like, I still don't get it. Why is that funny? I'm like, like Jennifer Lopez? J-Lo? Jenny from the block? And they're like, never heard of her. Was she work at the Fed? Yeah. I introduced my daughter a couple of weeks ago to Britney Spears. She'd never heard of her. Like, oh yeah, that's like grandma's music. I'm like, well, she's kind of like, she's the queen of pop. If it wasn't for her, there wouldn't have been Lady Gaga. And she's like, Lady Gaga? That old stuff? I'm like, well, like Taylor Swift? She's like, Dad, nobody likes Taylor Swift anymore. I'm like, oh, well, I don't know who the new is, but anyways, I need a new J Lo, but it's a big wide bottom, anyways, and maybe we work our way up. So this one feels like kind of like another. I don't remember which other pair it was, but I'm like, I like the price. The price is in my zone. I guess I'll do it this way. The price is in my zone, okay? But you see this gray line here? We did this a week ago. If you were hanging with me at Forex.Today or your client of Trader's Way, we already have all of this folded into our analysis. So this goes back a week or something. I was talking about this being our price for the month of April. So we're still here, but boy, it would have been better if you bought this a week ago at, 75 and a half. Now it's 77. I mean, it's not that far out, but the plan, even last week and even now, would be if you can get long, the target is, so you're long at 77, or even better, 75 and a half, or 76, let's say. You can get in around 77. I wish you were in at 76, but the target is 80. Okay. Excuse me. They don't make them like J-Lo anymore. That's pretty funny. All right, let's just quickly do some dollar stuff and quickly do some commodities, and then get out of here on our beautiful Good Friday. Does that sound fair? Sorry to bother you on a weekend, or sorry, a holiday. Okay, but money never sleeps, in my opinion. All right. So Aussie dollar, you see that? Same thing, right off of our buy zone. I'd like to be long 76 and a half, right? We're just approaching 77, so we're in our buy zone now. And if I can get long and stay long, my target's going to be 80. So, 300 pips. But that's just for the month. Boy, is it pollen or am I sick? Boy, don't even know. All right, so here's a much more dramatic move. This is gold. You have to ask yourself, are you a bull or a bear? We're approaching a buy zone for gold. It's nothing major. I wouldn't get all excited about it. The sell zone is a little bit higher. Okay, so I have to be intuitive now. I kind of hope the dollar gets weak. That tells me positive macroeconomics. Positive macroeconomics means the yen weakens, so on and so forth. So I have to fold all that into that together. So if all of that other stuff comes together, and dollar is weak, what should my bias be for gold fundamentally over the next 4 weeks? Yeah, construction dust. Yeah, it may be. They're even working today, which I was a bit surprised. We're knocking down a giant brick wall and putting in a custom-made glass door that's 16 feet wide. And they had to custom make a bunch of steel beams and stuff to put in my walls. Like, oh my God. Yeah, yes. So the answer to the previous question, I would be bullish on gold because I'm bearish on dollar, and gold is recognized traditionally anyways as the anti-dollar. So if dollar's falling, at least relatively, you're going to need more dollars to buy gold, and that means the price of gold goes up, and there might even be more demand for gold because dollar is weakening, and so you can get a double whammy. Long story short is that's what we're hoping for, is this move right here. And that move gets us, let's say if you're long around 1325, the next up gets you to 1368. Let's say maybe even 75. So that's 50 bucks on gold. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's go back. I wanted to click out. Okay, and we're already in this move. So if you look left and you see the higher high, we already set this up back in February. Okay, basically long just above 1300. So we're already in this. It's just taking a long time. Okay, and notice that even the monthly is so consolidated. So what this is telling me, oops, yeah, I guess this is fine. Nah, you know what? I don't want this. What this is telling me is I think we have a lot of energy building up, and at some point, I don't know if it's next week, next month, the month after the next month, but there could be a high volatility breakout in which we end up breaking outside of the targets and maybe going to things like monthly R3s and stuff, which would be unusual. But this consolidation is building up for a break of these highs. So so it's like squeeze, 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 pop. Okay. So maybe we have something like that into play. Still looks like a situation where there's not an amazing reason to hold gold. It's not paying a yield, and we don't have out of control inflation. So we're just sort of there. But other than that, like, why would you be buying it now besides that longer term view? Like, I could see why you bought it at 1050. I could see why you bought it at 11, but and maybe even 12, but 13, 14, like you should have been in this a long ago, months ago. But if this turns, maybe this sets us up for at least the next move. All right. So from here, 13.25 to maybe 14, 50 to $75. And we'll do oil. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, I'm more bullish than bearish. I have a lot of hope. I mean, it's not a strategy, right? There's a lot of hope on oil going up. It's just fundamentally more bullish on macroeconomics. And the macroeconomics tells me if we do start printing good numbers again and there's improved growth around the world, that demand for energy will go up and the price of oil will go up. But based on gold, we already said that, well, gold may go up because of its value in dollar, and dollar may go down because of our other analysis. So if that is also true, you will need more dollars to buy the same barrel of crude oil. So even though the barrel hasn't changed and the oil inside of it hasn't changed, the purchasing power of the dollar would be weakened, which means you need more dollars to buy the same barrel of oil, and more dollars means higher price. So just even if nothing changes but the dollar weakness, this should go up at least a little bit. But if the dollar weakens because of positive macroeconomic data, that also increases demand, right? And up we go. I'm also thinking longer term, maybe. I'm not thinking next week and next month. I believe oil inventories will continue to grow for 8 more weeks. And at some point near the end of that 8-week period, it could be week 6, week 7, could be week 8, could be week 9, but somewhere at the tail end of that, I expect inventories to start falling, and falling for months and months and months and months. Slowly, but months and months and months. So at some point, I believe oil will go up in a combination of improved macroeconomics, but also benefiting from an increase in demand. So it's supply and demand shift. Okay, see what I mean? So again, I'm neutral to bullish, and I'm not bearish, which is the beginning. I mean, that's part of a bias, isn't it? So we've already set this up weeks ago. In fact, we did this last month, the beginning of last month, our target was to buy it around 61. And, at that time, the high to be cautious about was at 66. Well, you can see why. But what we were hoping for is to get this up to like 68. That really hasn't changed much. So maybe we slightly get this at 64, maybe 63, and we end up a move like this. But like all the yen pairs, I think there's potential for sustainability, meaning that if we're in it all of April, we might be in all of May. So I'm already thinking, well, maybe this goes to May's monthly pivot target, pivot profit zone, even though I don't have those printed yet. So I'm thinking 8 weeks, 10 weeks in advance. And bear in mind, that's when the oil might really take off, and that might be interesting. Oh. So, sorry, I haven't been sleeping much lately. So at least I dragged my butt out of bed on a holiday to hang with you guys and do some technical and fundamental analysis. I hope you liked the video. I hope you subscribe to the YouTube channel so when I do future live streams, you're alerted and you can come join us. Okay? Brooke, come on, man. That's a little disrespectful, huh? Come on, Brooke. All right. So anyways, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope to see you again on Forex.Today, and I hope you visit tradersway.com and open an account there, at least a demo account, and give us a shot to continue to earn your loyalty and respect. All right. Thank you for the likes and the subs. Take care. Enjoy the weekend. Oh, I guess I'm supposed to go. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. And throw your diamonds in the sky for Traders Way. Cheers. Oh, where's the software to turn it off? Right. Found it. Cheers.